Hi, I'm Andrew, in for Rich today. Doing Rich's tie, it's not as if Rich cannot tie a tie. He's an adult. He's a television professional. He knows how to tie his own tie. But was that a special Irv knot?
That's what we were going for.
Is that what that was?
Yeah, it's like a quadruple Windsor, I think, that Irv ties.
So, I mean, I go with the half Windsor. That's what I typically tie. And when I have to tie my own tie, every time I go to howtotieatie.net, look it up, anyone. Because
Wait, you can't just tie a tie?
I wear a tie for weddings, and I go to 2 or 3 of them a year.
Right.
So let's be honest.
So you're not an adult.
But still, it's like riding a bike.
Like a child, Andrew.
Just tie a tie.
The man whose tie was tied, and the man whose name adorns the show because it is his show. We are merely here, keeping the chair warm for the time being. I believe has now landed back in Los Angeles from Houston last night, where he hosted the NFL Total Access pre- and post-game show for the Texans and the Colts on Thursday Night Football. Rich Eisen, are you still wearing that tie?
I am not. I'm fully dressed down, figuratively, not literally, not figuratively. But Law, you probably have trouble tying a bolo tie, right? You probably have an issue with that.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate that one.
Couldn't go for the Rivers if you had to.
Off the plane, guys. Fresh off the plane.
Welcome back to Los Angeles.
Welcome back.
Stuck in Obama-related traffic in the middle of Los Angeles right now.
Is the president on his way back to LAX now? Is he at LAX?
I don't know, but it's to use a Jack Bauer phrase, the perimeter is they set up a perimeter, and we're all just paying rent right now.
Are there any schematics involved?
I don't know, but wow, what a game last night! That was quite the roller coaster. We thought it was yet another boat race. A 4th consecutive boat race, and we were in the green room watching this. And there's a green room in the underneath the stadium there, and I was watching it with Marshall, and Mooch was out on the field. James Brown was in there, and we were all there. And JB had a couple of friends with him who were pastors, and I said to him, "Listen, there's enough religious people in this room with the power of prayer to somehow contact the football gods and make this darn thing a game." And we actually did. I think that's what happened last night.
Thankfully, because I don't think anybody wanted to see another blowout. And I think the most important thing from all this was, at least I was, holding out some kind of hope here in the first half, is Houston's a decent team. I don't think any of us was sitting there saying, well, maybe we overestimated Houston. We knew they would make a run. I'm just glad they made a run. We had a good second half. But when you guys walk away from there, Rich, do you have any better feel on who the Houston Texans are?
Yeah, they're a team that needs a better quarterback play, even though the first quarter had nothing to do with Ryan Fitzpatrick. They couldn't protect him. And they couldn't run the ball. The offensive line was just dreadful in the first quarter last night. But towards the end of the game, when you need to make a play, standing in the pocket, he coughed it up. And I don't want to blame it on him because Andre Johnson coughed it up the possession before, and their place kicker missed a huge kick that placed more pressure on the offense to have to score a touchdown as opposed to a field goal towards the end of the game. But just moving forward, they especially when you look across the field, you see Andrew Luck. They need to get better quarterback play, more consistent quarterback play. And I just shudder to think if Clowney becomes healthy and is nearly half as disruptive or as angry a pass rusher as he's supposed to be, what that would mean for J.J. Watt. I mean, it's so rare to be in a building and see one player connect with the fans and be able to rile up an entire building of fans with his play. The only thing I've seen close to it, to be honest, is Marshawn Lynch with the 12s and how he runs people over and what that means for the fan base there. J.J. Watt batting down a pass, sacking Andrew Luck, or doing what he did by returning that fumble for a touchdown. It just ignites, it erupted the building. And, man, he is an MVP candidate if I've ever seen one. And so that's who the Texans are. They can run the ball. They can defend. They have one of the most incredible defensive players I have ever seen, certainly in eyeballing them. And so that's who the Texans are. I do believe, though, that they're going to be a second-place team when it all comes down to it.
We have about 2 minutes remaining here on the
yes, I'm aware of the clock
fifth
myself.
show. You are aware of the clock. There is a hard out coming up, as they say in the trade.
As they say in the business.
As they say in the trade. This, by the way, this studio here is ridiculous. Thank you for letting me sit in here. This thing, I've been to the man cave. I've been to Connecticut. They have a nice setup here. Not trying to get, you know, into a contest here between the two shows here, but you have 3 times the floor space. This thing, Rich, is amazing. Well,
you've been working with DirecTV and Chris Long and Crittenden and the gang for a long time, you know, and so you could see, you know, you've seen firsthand, and I'm loving it. I appreciate you sitting in too. You know, I mean, the travel schedule is just won't allow me to sit in on a lot of the Friday shows. But bottom line, though, last night turned out to be a great game, and hopefully Week 6 can even match half as great a game as that turned out to be last night.
Rich Eisen is back here on Monday. Dan Patrick will be here on the large television over my shoulder. Warren Sapp will be here in studio. He was texting during the program today as well. And Dr. Drew will be here, a name I have often used at a bar, but this is the real Dr. Drew. He will be here in studio. Yes. And Rich will be back in this chair. It is his chair. Have a great weekend. Thank you again, Rich, for letting me sit here, and we'll see you on Monday.
But before we let him go, Richard, are you praying to those football gods for Michigan this weekend?
40 seconds.
My
yeah, I know. Penn State. I know you got your stout defense. Let's put it this way: Michigan's due. We are due.
You are due.
We're overdue. So
due for something.
Something. Syracuse is due as well. Take care, buddy.
All right, bud.
Rich Eisen, everybody. This is The Rich Eisen Show. I'm Andrew Siciliano.
The show, weekdays at noon Eastern, on Audience.